we have an awesome session for you guys here today. We have Jodi, who many of you may remember from the first time that we did Peak. She ran 3 sessions with you guys. She's also been involved in some way or another, from coaching to training coaches to leading the Wolf Pack for over 30 years of Special Olympics. So I'll let you take it away, Jodi.
Awesome. Thanks, you guys. I can't wait to get chatting with all of you as we get through the next hour. I'm just kind of going through everybody. Hi. I'm just going through everyone to see who all I know. I feel like if anyone's as old as me, you'd know what Romper Room is. And I'm like, this feels like Romper Room. Awesome. Yeah, for those of you who don't know me, I started coaching with the figure skating group in Special Olympics 31 years ago, and worked with the skaters for a really long time, and then started going over to doing a lot of game stuff and a lot of coach development. So now all your coaches are trained. They probably came through a session through me, and had a great time with getting to know your coaches too. And obviously I've seen tons of youth through Team Alberta at various times. I think the last provincial games I ran the floor hockey. So anyone that was in the floor hockey tournament was in the tournament in Calgary that I was running. And that being said, I was just telling Kiefer and Peyton that I just finished running a 70 game hockey tournament yesterday. So it was crazy busy. Now that hockey is back allowed in the rinks, we were getting all the kids back on the ice. I'm just gonna share my screen, you guys, and okay. So tonight, you guys, we're talking about being resilient and what that is, and how everybody in the room tonight has had experience with it. And sometimes people struggle with it. Now, again, anyone that was on the Wolf Pack this last year would know that resilient was one of our values, and it was something that was super important to us. And we all can really strive to think about that word a little bit. So I'm just going to share it here. I hope everyone can see the screen okay. But resilience is the capacity or the ability to recover quickly from difficulties. Right? That's just the dictionary version of what resiliency is. And we have all come across different challenges and adversity and difficulties. Every single one of us has. So therefore, we could end the session right now, because I can tell you that you are all resilient. So yay, everybody passes, right? Everybody in this room, everybody that you know has overcome something. And you guys are experts at it. And because you're experts at it, when it comes time to come up across another challenge, you're going to be just fine, right? Sometimes you think you're not, but that's just you telling yourself that. You're actually really okay, right? So it's an interesting thing, resiliency. And if you think about this, what does your life look like? And if you look at the screen, you'll see 2 different images, right? And so just in the chat, I just want you to say, were you on the top path? Is your life super easy? No problems, you just ride along just straight and narrow? Or do you ride on that bottom one that's a bit more real, where sometimes it's a little bit tough? What do you guys think? Yep, reality. Life is a roller coaster. I'm on the finish line. No, not a chance you're on the finish line. Yeah, everyone comes across something, and it depends on kind of where you are in life, on how tough something is, right? I mean, as a baby, you're already into that reality. Things aren't super easy, right? Someone needs to feed you. Someone needs to change your diapers when you're a little baby. That's not easy in their life. They're already dealing with being resilient. So you've learned that as a small child. You've learned how to manage through falling and learning how to crawl and going, wait a second, I'm not happy sitting here anymore as an infant. I need to move. Everybody else is moving. I need to move. So you guys have already figured out how to overcome something because you all learned to move, right? You learn to crawl. You learn to stand up. You learn to walk. You guys are all athletes. You've all been already in this strategy of being resilient, right? But it's only now as young adults and older adults that you go, oh, it's getting me down. It's beating me up. How do I overcome something, right? And now you have to actually think about it. As a baby, you didn't have to think about it. You just did it. But now you guys, and if anyone was in a session with me back in November, you would have been remembering we've talked about being purposeful and setting goals and making sure that you're aware of what your goals are so that you can proceed, right? So I want you to think about what your stories are. And pretty soon I'm going to tell you my story. But I want to think about what your stories are, right? And I ask the question again, is your movie, if you made a movie about your life, is it the straight line? Pretty easy, no challenges, never had to work for anything? Or is it filled with the ups and downs, right? And what would your movie look like? And which one is going to get you the Oscar? Because I'm here to tell you, if you have a boring story that's just flat and easy, there's not really much of a, it's good. But think about what your story is. Think about what you've already overcome. So I just want to check the chat again real quick. So here's a question for you. Everyone has favorite movies. We've all watched especially lots of sports movies that kind of motivate you and get you going. What are some movies what's your favorite movie of someone that had to overcome something? Right? For some reason, my favorite kind of movies are all football movies. I don't even really like football. I kind of like football, but not as much as I like other stuff. Yeah, Coach Carter. Forrest Gump, right? Luca, Rocky. Right? And these movies, there's always something that people were overcoming, and they always had a challenge. Blind Side, good one. Home Alone. He had a lot of resiliency in that movie, I can tell you that. And did all these movies inspire you to do something with your life? Is there something else that you had, I like that they overcame something and now I'm going to go and do something about my own challenges and my own goals? Very cool. Oh, Marshall, that's a good one. Cool. All righty. So I've got a bit of a story. So this time you don't need to do anything in the chat for a little bit. You can just kind of sit back and relax a little bit and listen to some of the stuff that I've overcome, because I've definitely been on that lower reality bar of lots of ups and downs. And what I'm going to tell you is just minuscule compared to my whole life, because I've got a lot of life. I have had a lot of life in my time, right? But my story, what I'm going to tell you about is my pain story. A lot of pain in my life, and pain, physical pain. And maybe just throw it in the chat box in if you've ever hurt something or broken something. Just a yes or a no if you've broken something or had to have surgery or anything like that from an injury. Yep, kind of, yeah. Oh, yeah, big ones. Yeah, thanks for sharing, you guys. And those that haven't had any kind of injuries, good. Hope you stay that way. Hope you stay that way, because injuries are literally a pain, right? 5 fractures. Yeah. Yep, stuff happens, right? You always have to recover from it. So I'm going to just talk a little bit about mine. I grew up with, and anyone that knows me again knows that I'm not terribly big, right? So I'm not totally sure how a kid my size has growing pains. But when I was little, and if anyone's had growing pains, you know how bad they can be, but I had them a lot. I had them a lot. And there were times where I would crawl down the hall on my stomach just to go and find my mom to see if she could help me out, because my pain when I would go to bed would be so bad that I couldn't sleep, right? And so I'd crawl down the hallway just waiting to get some help. And then we determined, and I was about 11 years old, that I had some knee issues. Now, I was a skater, right? I was a figure skater, and skating is not very good to do when you have bad knees. And so I had this thing called Osgood-Schlatter's disease, and it caused me some serious pain when I was skating. And basically what it meant is that I had really, really strong muscles in my leg and really soft bones, because I was still growing, kind of. I was still little, right? And so my bones were soft and my muscles were pulling on the bone and kind of making it a little bit deformed and sticking out, but it hurt. So then after I finished that, I got this funky thing called chondromalacia, right? And chondromalacia is my kneecap. Everyone put your hands on your knees right now. Everyone put your hands on your kneecap and just kind of move it around a little bit if you can, right? Mine, if you can see my picture, was rubbing against my other bone, that they were banging against each other. And it was causing so much pain. And so that was called chondromalacia, because my kneecap didn't like to talk to my femur and my upper leg. And it just was grinding, and you could hear it. It would just creak and stuff when it was going on top of my other leg. So anyways, finally we decided that we should probably deal with that, right? So what they did is, my first surgery, I had what's called a lateral release. And so if you put your finger on the outside of your kneecap and touch the very outside of your kneecap, there's a little ligament that holds it down to the other bone. Mine, we cut that off. So my kneecap popped up and it doesn't connect to the other bone anymore, right? So it stopped grinding, it stopped rubbing, which made it feel way better. But what the doctor forgot to mention is that it kind of dislocates every now and then, right? So if I jump and I use that good quad muscle, and if I do a jump or a jumping jacks or anything like that, my knee pops out of where it's supposed to be. So I can't do those things anymore because it kind of pops out and it hurts. So that was that first knee surgery. Worked, and I'm glad I did it, but it certainly causes a little grief. So but you know what? Again, talking about resilience, you just keep going, right? Because I can't stop. I was coaching skating, I was doing all my stuff, but you got to keep going. So then, not too much longer, I ended up with a thing called anterior compartment syndrome in both of my shins. And both my shins were super sore, and I couldn't lift up my toes very much because my shins were so sore. And so I went into the hospital, and they went into both of the shins, and they just released the pressure. So it was a surgery, and I had to recover from that surgery too. So, but you know what? I refused to stop. I refused to give up. So what did I do? I started playing soccer, right? I started playing soccer. I'm not a very good soccer player. I'm a pretty good skater, but I am not a very good soccer player. And you know what I did? I got hit with the ball. The ball was coming right for my face, And I put my hand up to stop it, and the ball nailed my wrist and my thumb. and ultimately broke my wrist and broke my thumb. And then a bone came off of my thumb, like I pulled the bone off of my thumb. So had to have that operated on. But you know what? It didn't help. It still was too much pain. So they went back in. And if anyone knows what a fusion is, it means that they stuck a pin inside the thumb and they made the pin stay there and made my joint not move. And it's now I can't bend it because it's fused all in one straight line. So now I can't bend my thumb, which is fine. I don't notice that too badly. Right? But I just wouldn't give up. I kept saying that I have to fix it. We have to fix it. So then move on to number 5. I had my gallbladder removed. That was just making me really sick. So that's done. And then we moved on to the 6th one and the biggest one. And that's the one I wanted to tell you guys about today. Is anyone grossed out yet or are you all good? Thumbs up. We're all okay. And you know what? The pain that I have, it's not been fun, but it's not what other people have. Lots of pain. Other people have, different, everyone has different kind of pain. And sometimes the problem is that other people can't see it, right? Other people can't tell what kind of pain we're in, whether it's physical pain, mental pain, frustration, anything. Other people can't see it. So they don't know how we're feeling. And that gets frustrating, I think, sometimes, is when I just want someone to be able to see how much I'm hurting, right? Or how much I'm bothered by something. And sometimes you just wish that someone would notice it, but it's not, it's not that obvious sometimes. Anyways, all right, back to my big one that just happened. So if anyone knows anything about Greek mythology, you know who this guy is, and I'll tell you a little bit about him. But if you've watched the movie with Brad Pitt, you might recognize the name Achilles. And Achilles was this warrior back in the Greek mythology days, and he was threatened that someone was going to kill him as a little baby. So his mom dipped him in a river to make him invincible, but she held him by his heel, right? And so the river made the rest of his body totally invulnerable to anything, but except the heel, because that's where she was grabbing him, right? When she dipped him in the water. And so his heel was the weakest part of his whole body. Everything else, he couldn't be hurt except for that part of his body. And so sometimes people will comment on, "Ooh, what's your Achilles heel?" It means what's your weakness, right? My Achilles heel generally might be chocolate because I like chocolate. So that's my weakness, right? Do you guys have an Achilles heel? Do you have something that you're just, I can't give that up. It's something that I really want, right? That's your Achilles heel, is something that's just your weakest thing. So yeah, chocolate and coffee, right? Everyone's got a thing that's kind of that weakness. Well, anyways, I kind of chuckled because my Achilles heel became my Achilles heel, and it became my weakest part. And wow, did it cause me some grief over the last basically 9 years. Chocolate. See? Oh, Starbucks, that's a good one too. Everyone's got something. Caramel. Oh, see, now you guys are making me hungry. I have not had supper yet. So anyways, this is me. My tiny little feet that are the bane of my existence. And my Achilles heel in 2012, so that's 9 years ago, just flared up on me, just went crazy on me. And I was down in Toronto. I was running a big event in Toronto, and I woke up in the morning and went, why can I not walk? What is happening with my foot that I cannot step my foot on the ground without screaming in pain? And it was awful. awful. And so I somehow, because you just have to, got down to a taxi, because I was leaving, I got to the airport, got home, and started treatment on my foot. And that was again in 2012. And I lived through lots of stuff. I was able to go traveling and do some stuff with this, but we were kind of keeping an eye on it for a long time. And then it would flare back up again, right? If I went for a bike ride, all of a sudden it would flare up and I couldn't walk. And you have to imagine, when I say I couldn't walk, I literally couldn't walk, like hands and knees around my house, right? Hands and knees up my stairs so I could go to bed because I couldn't touch my foot to the ground. Okay. And then it would go away, or then it would switch sides and it would go to my other side. And then it would switch back. And it was just, getting to be worse and worse. So this is that resilience part, right? Because again, it's when you go to the doctor and the doctor doesn't just fix it, right? That's all you want. You want the doctor to just fix my problem and then I'll be able to carry on with life. And the doctor tried something. And if anyone's ever seen, what I had to do? I had to sleep in ski boots. So for all those skiers out there, Andreas, I see you're on there. All those skiers, imagine going to bed with your ski boots on. Because I had to go to bed with my foot in flexed position. I couldn't let my foot relax, because if all you guys are sitting there now, let your foot just relax and now pull your toes up, right? And if I let my toes relax, when I went to step on it, my Achilles would have gone too tight and it would hurt. So I would have to sleep in a ski boot. That's incredibly odd. So I tried that. I also had this crazy sock. I had to pull the sock on, and the sock had a strap on it on the toe of the sock that tied to my knee. And that would also keep my foot stretched. And that was horribly uncomfortable in bed. So then I also had others, like numerous treatments. I had massages. I had physio where they try to do the ultrasound on it, right? I had the sock, I said, the osteotherapy, that was weird. Chiropractors were trying to grind the pain out and grind the injury down. I have had braces on my ankles. So here's the kicker. Prolotherapy is where they actually take a needle filled with like sugar water, and they inject it down into my foot to see if it would irritate it enough to get the blood flowing to get it healing, right? Because all they wanted to do is get the blood down there to keep healing and getting the good minerals in. That didn't work. But you know what it did do? It made me cry. It was really painful and it made me cry. And then PRP, this was insane. PRP is actually, they took blood out of my arm, right? I was at the doctor, they took the blood out of my arm, they spun it around and pulled the good stuff out of the blood, and they put it straight into my foot, thinking that might help. And all the time I had to just keep doing, I had to keep working, I had to keep managing my kids, I had to keep doing stuff. So you can't ever give up, right? You just keep moving. So tons of stuff. And finally, you know what the doctor said? He goes, it's time for action. These things aren't working. So again, I tried to keep going. So this was me, February 20th, 2020, or February 19th-ish, 2020. I went for a skate. I thought, I got to just do something. I've got to sneak my foot into a skate, and I got to just do something. But you know what it did? It flared everything up, right? So this was days before we went to Thunder Bay, and I sent an email to my sport medicine doctor, and I'm like, help me now. What am I going to do? I have to get on a plane here in 2 days from now or 4 days from now. What am I going to do? You got to help me out. So he says, come on in. So I went in, and right away they gave me a cortisone shot, and they put it straight into the tendon. Well, the tendon, he said, this is either going to be really helpful or it's going to rupture. And rupturing it would be very bad, right? Because it's going to fix it or help it, or it'll rupture. I said, well, I've got to take the chance because I can't be in this kind of pain going down to Thunder Bay, right? Yeah. So time to go to Thunder Bay, right? I got to the airport. I'm in my cast. I'm getting wheelchaired through all the airports I had to get to. I text Jill. You guys all know Jill. And I said, this is going to be interesting. And we kind of laughed. We kind of cried. But we said, we got to do it. So this, and I had to go down to Thunder Bay earlier than everybody else. I was meeting the team there. So I got down to Thunder Bay and I had, just give me one quick second. There, I'm just going to take it off of sharing for just 1 second. So I got down to Thunder Bay and I had to get a car to rent, which I couldn't walk to get. So somebody else from BC helped me get it, which was super cool. And then I had to actually get to the hotel. So I'm thinking, how am I going to get in the hotel? I've got a lot of luggage and I've got a lot of stuff, other stuff to carry. I needed to go and get some team supplies. So I had gone, I thought, well, what's the best thing for me to do is to drive around and get familiar with Thunder Bay. So I did that, right? Because I could sit. And then I came back and I went to a couple stores because I had my crutches and I could walk into a couple stores, got a couple things, loaded them up in the car. And then I got back to the hotel and I'm like, what now? Like, how on earth am I going to get all this stuff into the hotel when I have crutches and I have nobody to help me? And the worst part about the whole thing is I had to pee really badly. And I'm like, how am I going to do this? I just need to go into the bathroom. Anyways, that's that whole resilience part, right? We talked about it all year with Team Alberta. You got to be resilient. And so I said, fine, I'm going to just do it. I hobbled in. I took all as much stuff as I could carry. And then I went, you know what? I'm going to wait for somebody to help me because that's coming. And I'm going to wait for somebody to help me. And there's some pretty awesome people around the Special Olympics world, isn't there? So I can tell you, as soon as the team arrived, I was a pretty happy camper, right? Because when you need to overcome adversity, you surround yourself with truly amazing, supportive people. And as soon as those guys saw me there, they saw my crutches, they saw my cast, they were there to help. And I never had to think twice about the challenges that I was having because these guys all had my back at any point in time. So the week was great. At one point, and people were helping me out. I took a snowmobile to watch the cross-country skiing. I was recovering enough from that cortisone shot. I was able to get over to watch all the outdoor sports happily that I didn't think I'd be able to do, but I was. And again, it took the team. It always says it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a team to help you recover from something. And this team was my godsend. I really needed them at that time, and they were there to help me out. So at this point in time, I'm on a wait list for surgery, right? Now, we came back from the games and COVID shut the world down, right? So I was waiting on a wait list for surgery. And I finally got the call. So August 21st, sorry if this grosses you out, but August 21st, 2020, so about 9 months ago, I got the call to say, come on in, let's fix up this foot of yours. And we chose to do just one, even though it's in both, we chose to do just one. And that's what it looked like. And they detached the whole tendon off of my foot, off of the bone. They shaved down part of the bone. They took off part of the bone. And then they reattached it very challengingly back onto the bone, right? But as soon as you take your muscle off of there, the muscle becomes really weak, really, really weak. And there's almost nothing left to it. And then after that, of course, I was in a cast, and I was in a cast for 3 months, right? So I was in a cast for 3 months. I couldn't put my foot on the ground for 3 months. This very handsome man is my husband, and he was also part of my village who was helping me get through this. Now you can imagine coming home, I had steps I had to climb to get into my house. My bedroom was up on my second floor, but we made a bedroom in this office so that I could actually sleep downstairs without climbing up the stairs. I went outside once and I had my scooter. If you can see it in the picture, I have a scooter that I needed to use. But within the first week, I actually fell, and it fell and kind of jogged my foot a little bit. So that was scary. But yeah, I was in the cast for 3 months and I couldn't put my foot on the ground. So it got really, really, really weak, as you guys can imagine. So what I want you to do just really quickly is I want you to stand up and stand on one foot. Okay, stand on one foot. And I want you, just while you're standing there, to lift up and go onto your tippy toe. Right? Try to hold it up on top of your tippy toe. Now try to do it on your other foot. Stand up, get onto your tippy toe. Pretty easy? Yeah? And now I want you to stand on one foot and hold your toes really tight, and then just imagine that you want to stand up, but you can't. Right? Imagine that you cannot move your heel. You cannot lift your heel off the ground. And that was me. All right, you can sit down now. Right? As easy as you guys all went up onto your tippy toes, I couldn't do it. Right? There was no muscle left, and I couldn't do it, which is hard. It's hard walking. It's hard. So you have to relearn it. Everything I needed to do to relearn how to walk. Even today, I have to think, lift my heel whenever I'm walking, right? So that was in August. Now the doctor told me it takes a full year to recover from this surgery. So it's not even a year yet. But I said, I have to follow all the rules. I have to be diligent. I have to practice. I have to do all the exercises, just like you guys all do. When you're training for your sports, you have to follow all the stuff that the coaches are telling you. And so I was doing that with the doctor. I was going to physiotherapy. I was practicing standing on my one foot. I was practicing just holding it, not even trying to move it, but just holding it. And I set goals. We talked again back in November all about goal setting and why it's important to set goals. And so for me, it was, I need to be active. I need to do stuff. I haven't done stuff for 10 years because I was always in pain. Now it's time to get back, right? I had a new foot. I had a new lease on life. I needed to get back. So I had a lot of motivation, and I was very, very diligent, and I did it. Right? January 31st. My goal was that I was going to skate in January. And on the 31st of January, the very last day of the month, for 10 minutes, I could skate. I put my skates on and very carefully, thank you, very carefully I skated. But I did it, and I said I was going to do it. Right? So you just have to set those goals all the time and keep going. My next set of goals, I had said to my doctor, I was like, I want to hike. I want to hike up a mountain and not hold everyone back from hiking. I want to golf. I want to be able to go golfing and not be the one that holds everybody back. And well, I can tell you that we've gone out to the mountains and did some small hikes in about March, April. And I did a pretty good one here for about an hour in my neighborhood that has a good incline. And if anyone knows Calgary and Bowness Park, there's a steep set of stairs that come up to Valley Ridge. And I did those the other day. And I thought, wow, I'm at least on the right track, right? It's not perfect, but I'm on the right track. So that Jill asked me to kind of talk about injury and injury recovery, and it all kind of came out to this whole resiliency piece, about never giving up and about overcoming something that's kind of holding you down. And trust me, with all the pain that I've been in my whole life, I could have stopped. I could have just shut down, become a couch potato, just curled up in a ball. And trust me, there's days where I did, where I couldn't do any more. I just literally curled in a ball and felt sorry for myself, and finally said, okay, now it's time. Now I've got to get up, right? I've got to be able to go and have a life and do stuff and hang out with all of you guys, right? Because it's no life when I'm sitting at home by myself. I've got to have a life, and you guys help me with that. So yeah. So now you think about how to be resilient. And we talked about it a little bit earlier, but these are clues and things for you guys. You already are. First of all, know that you're resilient, because I can guarantee you every single one of you has overcome something. So just remember that you are. And when you start to think about it, I'm gonna take this question from Miranda.
Jodi, I think we're all resilient coming the COVID. I think we're all resilient with that.
Absolutely.
Because we know it's coming to an end, like in a week, in a little bit.
Yay.
So we're all resilient to it.
True. There's a few more participants as well with their hands up.
Thanks, Miranda. We're going to go to Tara next.
I have broke my ankle once when I was in high school. When I was in grade 12, I was walking on ice and I fell and broke it, and I couldn't put any pressure and I couldn't put any weight on it for 6 weeks, and it's feeling much better now, except it hurts once in a while.
Yep. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Good to keep it moving. You can keep going, Kiefer.
Sounds good. I'm going to go to Danielle next.
I have one question for you, Kiefer. When I clicked on the police question site, it said the page is unavailable right now. Technical difficulties.
We actually did just close it, Danielle, but if you want to just email it to me, I'll add it for you.
Okay. And I have an example for Jodi too.
Sounds great.
All my family members, they all water skied in my life. And one summer, I just thought I'd have to try the water ski. And I actually did not succeed the first summer, but the second summer, it was through my two cousins. They did dryland training with me, and my aunt, a really good water skier. She did help me in the water, and I actually did get up.
Nice. Very good.
Thanks, Danielle. Do you want to just keep going, Jodi?
Yep.
Okay, sounds good. We're going to go to Lori.
Hi, Kiefer. Hi, Jodi.
Hey.
I was at work, and I was on my way to work. My parents were in Vegas, and I was on my way to work, and I went to walk down my steps in my backyard, and all of a sudden the concrete step lifted up. And next thing you know, I went to go to stand up, and I looked and I couldn't stand up. I broke my left ankle and could not even get up. And so, Jodi, that boot brings back really big nightmares. And
all right,
the
thanks
socks.
for sharing, Lori.
Thanks, Lori.
Thank you.
All right, we are going to go to Leonka.
I had to deal with the hearing loss and learning how to read lips, because my hearing was going downhill, and then I got a very bad infection and they had to go in the behind my ear and clean it all out, and it was all in my jaw.
Wow,
And
amazing.
now I have hearing aids to help me hear.
Good for you.
Mhm.
Amazing recovery. Yeah. Thanks, Leonka.
Oh, we're gonna go to Ren next.
Hi, I went on Facebook. Yeah. Hi, Jodi.
Hi.
I'm a huge fan of yours. Yeah, I got injuries, of course, when I was young. Yeah. When I went to my lake, my uncle's lake, and I got an injury on my back, and it was really bad. But now I'm better. And yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah.
So,
Good for you, though. It feels better now.
Yeah, now I got actually healed because I was with all my friends in Special Olympics for like a lot of years. I've been swimming for. Yeah, so yeah, I'm trying out golfing and definitely not soccer and softball. So
Yep.
and
Thanks,
swimming.
Ren. That's terrific. Great to hear. Thank you.
No problem. Huge fan.
Great. We're just gonna keep rolling then, Jodi. I'm gonna go
Yep.
to Cassie next.
For me, when I was quite little, I had a brain injury, a TBI, a traumatic brain injury, and I wasn't even supposed to go to the same school as my older sister, but through all my hard work at my physiotherapy, I was able to, and I graduated high school. Some of my friends from who were in, like majority of my classes.
That's amazing, Cassie. And that's why I think you guys could be telling the stories that I'm telling. There's other people that struggle and don't understand, and they come across a challenge and they bury themselves and they go into the fetal position because they just don't know what it feels like, right? You guys are champions at this stuff. But good for you. These are really good stories. Before we jump to the next person, I have to tell you a funny story because again, my frustration level over the years was getting to be so big that I would actually be getting angry. And I'd see people, I work in a sport facility, and I'd see people going to do their Zumba classes or their boxing classes, and I'd really actually want to hurt them. Like I'd be so jealous that they could do all this stuff that I'd be wanting to hurt them. And then I was saved one day because I walked into a seniors workout class, going to my office, and the seniors were there working out, and they were playing balloon badminton. And I thought, oh my gosh, balloon badminton won't hurt. So that became my new favorite thing, right? But you know what? Today, you guys, I forgot to mention at the end is today. So what is it? I told you I did a little bit of hiking. Today was June 21st. I played pickleball this morning. And I did my gardening, and I've been playing pickleball every week for the last couple of weeks, and I'm new to the sport, so I'm not very good at it. And I have my knee taped up. I've got my ankle brace on. I look like the bionic woman, but you know what? I'm trying. All right, Kiefer, let's go to a handful more.
All right, we'll just keep going through. So we have James next.
Hello, Jodi. Thanks for sharing your story.
Thanks, James.
So I've been in Jasper this whole week that has passed, and I actually leave tomorrow. But one of my hikes that I was in Jasper, there's a hike called Bald Hill, and we were hiking that. And at the bottom of the hike and kind of the middle, it was a nice summer day. All good, right? We get to the top, and there's a whole bunch of snow. And we were not expecting this snow. So with the snow, we only had our hiking shoes on, and I just had capris on and stuff. So with the snow, I saw footsteps. So I thought I could, put my foot in the footsteps. I did that for a while, and it did work for a while. But then my foot kind of got off course, and I got my foot stuck into waist deep snow.
Waist deep snow on the middle of June.
Yes, waist deep snow. And my mom was trying frantically to dig me out. And, like she is a very fit person, but she's a lot older than me. She's like 60 years old and stuff. So if you can picture that in your head. Anyways, she with her strength, she wasn't able to dig me out. Her strength just wasn't good enough, because some of my mom's strength isn't there, because my mom has a bit of arthritis and Parkinson's and stuff, right? So as she was trying to dig me out, she just kept having troubles. But then I saw these two hikers that were on the top of the mountain, and I was waving them down because I thought to myself, no, my mom can't help me. So I waved them down kind of like this. I waved them down, and they came down, and the two of them helped us. It was a guy and a girl. It was the guy that more helped. And I think the guy was an off-duty rescue person, because he had like a official red jacket with like a little barcode. Yeah. Like a little one of these kind of things. And so I think, and he knew what to do. He had gloves, he had like all the gear, and he just, he like basically dug me out.
Laura, that's a fascinating story, and that's amazing. Thanks for sharing it. We're going to go to a couple other people, but thanks for sharing that.
Hello. So like, I think it was 5 and 6 years ago. I had like 2 injuries like a year or 2 apart, and one was before provincials, and the other one was before nationals. And the one before provincials was my ankle. I rolled my ankle like 3 months before, and then the one before nationals, I hurt my back, and like both of them were kind of my fault, kind of not. And so, but I just persevered, and I
Oh, I think you just muted your.
I did. Oh, did I?
Oh, no, I think she muted herself. Sorry. We can ask her to finish here. Sorry.
Kennedy, thanks for sharing that too. That was
okay.
Injuries, right? It's crazy.
Yeah.
You guys, I'm worried that we've got, it's awesome to have so much feedback. What I'm going to do is just do a couple last slides. Make sure you have the password, and then whoever wants to stay on and keep chatting, Kiefer, if you're okay with that.
Yeah, that's definitely, as long as you're available. Yeah, for sure.
Yep. So let me just finish off just a couple of points for you guys to take away. But again, just on that, again, you guys are rocking the resiliency here. But when you do get in a bit of a funk, right, just go back and think about all these stories you're sharing. That, yes, I recovered from that. I will recover from the next one, right? Walk yourself through it. What did I do? How did I recover from that scenario? when something else that comes that feels like you're digging into a hole you can't get out of, literally, Laura, right? When you need that, think about what happened in the past. Understand time will help you, right? When you're getting into something happening, if there's a tragedy, time helps. It just does. Your brain is keyed that way to move on. And again, finding the right people to be with. Like I said, Team Alberta, you guys all the time. It helps my spirit. And then some of the things with resiliency, again, if you think you're not resilient, you are. It's your confidence that might be lacking. So you need to give yourself that boost. And also find what that motivation is. We did this a little bit again in November. What is that motivation? Mine is I wanted to go skating again. I wanted to go hiking with my friends and not be the one that had to stay back at the cabin or stay back at the house, right? I wanted to be there with everybody. So that's my motivation to keep moving and keep doing my therapy, right? Sometimes you just need to plain old be kind to yourself and not feel badly. If you can't do something, it's okay. You don't want to beat yourself up. And again, persevere. You guys have said that tonight too, right? And we've shown this slide before. It's just about the practice and just keep going until you can finally get past whatever it is that's kind of tying you down a little bit, right? And bear with me for 1 second. Oh, right. We talked about the SMART goals. Again, for me, it was, what am I going to do? How am I going to get there? How many times a week am I going to work out? How many sets am I going to do in my heel raises, right? Get that really SMART goal going. And again, my favorite saying, again, this can be just one day or this can be day one, and always moving forward from that. Kiefer, do you know the password offhand?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. So the password for tonight, I'll type it in the chat too, but I'll maybe toss it up on the screen here. It's Blue Dog. I don't know if you guys can see that, but again, I will put that in the chat. Blue Dog.
So you guys, thank you so much for listening to my story. I've never told it like that before in a whole segment. But thanks for listening to my story and again, just understanding a little bit more about resiliency and overcoming stuff, right? We all, very few people live on that straight, narrow, simple path. The majority of us are always up and down and turned around and learning something new, but take something from it. Always take something from it. So there's always a silver lining. So awesome. Super happy again if we wanted to just hear a few other stories.
Yeah, sounds great. So for anyone that has to take off, you have the passcode. Again, it's Blue Dog, but if you do have a question, feel free to stick around. And so we'll go to Shelby.
I like your story, Jodi.
Thank you.
I went that way with my heart surgery when I was a baby.
Heart surgery when you were a baby, is that what you said?
Yeah, I had a heart surgery.
Oh, wow.
That's amazing, Shelby. And look at you now. Look at you, thriving and beautiful. Amazing. Thanks for sharing that.
Right, Matthew.
Hi.
Hi, Matthew.
First of all, how are you?
Great. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, you're welcome. So my story is that I had many injuries, and I have recovered them all. So that covers injuries. My question is, what happens when you don't have resilience?
People that don't have resilience, again, Matthew, really everyone does. It's just a matter of finding it, right? And pulling it out. But it's hard if people that don't, they just, they would have a hard time recovering, whether it's from an injury or a loss or anything, right? So it's, if you know someone that's really struggles with their resilience, then then you should help them out, right? Like that's what I like to do is think that I can also be there as much as I depend on all of you guys to help me out. I'm going to be there to help you guys or other friends. So resilience is all part of being part of a whole team, you know?
Okay, thanks. And another question is, how do people find resilience?
How do people find resilience? Again, they think about other things that they've already accomplished, right? When you come up with, when you have a challenge, and again, whether that's a sport challenge or a physical challenge or a loss or something that makes you really sad, you think about something that you've already done, right? Think about how you've recovered from something before. And that kind of puts it into perspective a little bit that you can do it again because you've done it already. And then you every day, just you do a little something every day.
Okay, what about when you give up?
You know what, Matthew, let's jump back. We're gonna just finish off a couple more questions and we might be able to come back to you, okay?
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Awesome. So we'll see if Jordan, if your mic is working now. If not, we'll just get you to ask it in the chat, maybe. Jordan, actually, your mic is still not picking up for some reason. Would you be able to type in the chat what your question is, and then Jodi can answer it for you? We just can't hear you on our end. I don't know if you can hear her, Jodi. I can't.
I can't hear her at all. No.
Okay. Yeah, Jordan, would you be able to just type your question in the chat, and then we can come back to it? Thank you. All right, Alex.
Looking for Jodi.
Hi, Alex.
How are you?
Great. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, you're welcome. So there are a few things I gotta tell you. So it all started when I was hanging out with my friends since the high school, and all of a sudden I tripped and just shattered my right ankle, and it was very painful. And then I stand up, and I can barely walk. And that's all where it started. So I shattered my ankle when I was 16 years old. Yeah, no fun of getting the painful ankle.
No kidding. And you obviously recovered from it. Did you have to have surgery?
It just that I just went home and just stayed there for a whole time. Yeah. But 2 days later, I can just walk very slowly, and then not to shatter my ankle ever again. So I had some injury after so I went for a physio after I just pull a muscle in my left leg, which means I can barely walk and put my clothes on for my legs. And that just happened like 4 years ago.
Wow. Yeah. Good for you though, just sticking through it, right?
Yeah, hopefully I can just work on prevent further injuries for my leg.
Yep, good for you. Thanks for sharing, Alex.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, Jodi, you want one or two more here? Or?
Yeah, let's do two more. Sorry, guys, if we can't get to everybody.
Yeah, so for anyone we can't get to, I'll post a thing in the Facebook chat, and I can always send Jodi an email, and she'll answer any.
Absolutely.
For sure. Sounds great. All right. Jessica, you're up.
Okay, my incident that I now playing softball, the ball hurt my finger, and then I was like feeling like that. My mom asked the nurse on the thing, and I ended up getting it taped up, and then I said to my coach, "I want to go back to the field."
Well, you know what? I will tell one last story, and then we'll take one more question. We'll be done. But Jessica, you reminded me, one injury I didn't share earlier was when I was a kid. I was about 12 years old and skating, and I kept doing a jump and falling, doing another jump and falling. And I kept falling, and every time I fell, I'd bend my wrist back and I'd land on my wrist, right? And so at the end of the day, my mom was like, suck it up, princess. Let's go to the competition. I had a competition that weekend. Came home and my friend's mom said, I think it's broken. So I skated all weekend with a broken wrist. Came back and I'm again, resiliency all over the place. I didn't want to not skate. So we got the cast on my wrist. I went back to the rink. I went back skating. I did the same jump. I fell the same way, but because I couldn't bend my wrist in the cast, I broke 2 of my fingers.
Hey, Tromba.
All right, one last comment, and then yeah, we'll do everything else on Facebook.
Sounds great. I have Jordan here who's had her hand up for a while, so I will go to her. Jordan McLeod.
Okay. I got 2 questions. I was at the Salad Dome a very long time ago. I can't remember when, but I did sprain my ankle 2 times. One at the Salad Dome on a concrete stairs, and then I with my same foot, I did sprain my ankle again at home. And then I went to the hospital. So I wore my mom's cast and then went to the hospital to get checked and get x-rayed. So that was my bad experience right there.
Yeah.
And my my second question is I was in the hospital not too long ago with a hernia surgery. And I had to wait for like 6 weeks to get back into the pool. And then when I got back into the pool, I immediately swam really hard and got a gold medal.
Wow, good for you. Again, amazing determination, right? That's one of those motivating factors is what are you determined to have happen when you can get through the challenge? Yeah, thanks so much, Jordan.
You're
so
welcome.
you guys, thanks a ton for all the sharing and listening and participating for tonight. I really appreciate you listening to my story, and I hope that you can take something away from it and keeps you motivated and understand a little bit more on how to deal when you come up with a challenge.
Yeah, so Jodi, Jordan actually ended up sending her messages here. So she injured her ankle when she was in Ramsey High School when she was 13.
I see that, right. Yep, Jordan, and I know you had some injuries even this last year, so that's amazing. Yeah, amazing to come up and, you know, do your recover and get back in the game.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jodi. Like we said, everyone, sorry we didn't get to everyone today. But if you do want to share in the chat, I can share your stories with Jodi, or if you do have a question, you can write that as well, and we'll share that with Jodi. But I just want to say thanks for your time, Jodi. We really appreciate it, and your story sure inspired all of us. So thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, you guys. See you again. Have a great summer.
See everyone tomorrow night.